So there was a VTuber called, so basically, hello if you're employed, allow me to explain. There was a VTuber, or I guess he doesn't refer to himself as a VTuber, I don't know, called Peanut. I'd never heard of Peanut until all of this. I didn't know. I was like, sick, man, like awesome. And when I was hanging out with Lard, he was like, yeah, he's watching this guy. I was like, I didn't know, I'd never heard of this guy. And I realized the reason why I hadn't heard of this person was because they're in the Arc Raiders kind of, I guess the closest circle would be like a Dr. Disrespect kind of audience vibe, you know, kind of like a FPS, you know, people who play COD there a lot of their lives. So it used to be 13-year-old me, and I'm sure when I was 13, I would have maybe I would have been into that kind of shit. I would say, I don't know the exact layer of it, so I might not be right here, right? So she's like a different vibe, right? And I'm obviously in the anime sphere. That's kind of where I've been, so that's why I didn't know them, and it wasn't like any like shade tool. But they were nominated for Best VTuber alongside Chibidoki, Kenji, Mori, and Mouse. And they ended up winning. They won Best VTuber. And look, there's a number of reasons why that could have been. They had won a massive explosion in audience and popularity. And at the end of the day, it's a popular contest. However, you know, I mean, there's also massive fan bases for all the VTubers, but, you know, it's still very different. But, you know, a lot of people are voting on this. You know, you have like Kai Cenat, Audience AMP Gang, you have the FaZe guys, and they have such massive reach. And obviously when they're scrolling through it, they might only know Peanut, right? So there's a high chance and understandable why he could have won. But then people ended up getting very upset about it all. And I thought it was really interesting. And I don't normally hop into this, but I did hop in for a little bit, and I'll hopefully explain why that is. So let's have a look at what kind of unfolded. So Peanut won. And then from this, obviously, a lot of people were kind of, you know, kind of a bit upset about it, because people felt like, well, hold on, this guy's not a VTuber. I watch my HoloLives, I watch my Iron Mouse, I watch all these people, and this guy doesn't have the same vibe at all. And then through that, I think Mouse tweeted, I'll get a little tweet, me cringing at all the people, mad that Peanut won. Every VTuber in that category deserves to be there. And you know, some people got very upset about it. But look, to put it into perspective as well, look, and I'm the #1 Mouse defender. Hey, I'll admit it, bro. I defend Mouse. That's I defend my friends, man. What can I say? Let me like put it into perspective. Mouse has won it 3 times. Mouse has won Best VTuber 3 times. If Mouse wins a 4th time, people are gonna be pissed. Why is she winning again? She's already won 3 times. If Mouse loses, okay, sure. She loses, let's say it's to Mori Calpi. I think everyone would be pumped about that. I think Mouse would be pumped about that. I would be pumped about that. I think, or whoever it is, right? Whatever in this category. But I think, you know, people got very upset that Peanut won, as opposed to any of the other VTubers specifically, because they're not really, Peanut isn't a normal type, right? And you know, I think anything Mouse would say here would be interpreted quite badly if Mouse had been, let's say, upset and been like, okay, this Peanut fellow shouldn't have won, or shouldn't have even been nominated. I think some people could say that, you know, comes across as a sore loser. And I also think it's not very graceful. To be honest with you, I would say that it's not very graceful to, like, when you lose an award, to then, as somebody who is in the 5 people who are nominated, to then turn around and say, like, hey, I think you never should have even been allowed to get the award. It doesn't look good, okay? And look, the chatters are chatting about, I'm annoyed about this. We'll get to it, all right? Let's get to it, okay? We'll jump into all of this, all right? But just follow along with what I'm saying for now. And let's just keep on track here, because everyone's throwing in their opinion. Let's just keep talking about what happened. Okay, so Mouse tweets that, and I think there's a no-win situation here for Mouse. Where Mouse tweets about this, and people are happy, because I think either way it's gonna be a bad look in some way. And one of my biggest gripes of a lot of the stream awards is that I think a lot of the streamers are not graceful. They're not very professional about things. I think a lot of them are very entitled and very selfish, and have way too much ego involved for a job that you already get glazing nonstop. So anyway, we should read some of the responses, right? So first of all, the man himself responded, Burnt Peanut, says, thank you, Iron Mouse, and congratulations on your spectacular performance last night. Okay, very graceful from both people involved, I think. Fair enough. But people, you know, were rightfully annoyed about all of this to begin with. So let's have a look at some of the responses. Here's the top response to the tweet that Mouse put out. I like you, Mousy, but I'm not going to support someone whose whole gimmick is mocking VTubers and has a community that hates them becoming VTuber of the year after having the vote gassed up by people like Shroud as a way to make fun of VTubers. And I think like this is, it's pretty valid. I'd say, like, I think that VTubers get a really bad, shake at things. I think people are like hella disrespectful to VTubers in general. I mean, you know, Mouse is, my God, Mouse has gone through this quite a lot. Mouse won the Game Awards, the Creator of the Year, like, which is such a big award, right? Beating out some really big people. And I think people feel very burnt at the fact that, hey, I like this thing, I support these people, and you know, they constantly make fun of us, even though I think like VTubers don't really interact much or go out of into the mainstream. And so anytime they do it all for like 0.3 seconds of like man, child, man pretending to be a woman, you know, it's like ridiculous. It's like, so I think there's the annoyance there from people is very understandable. But I also, for me, Mouse's initial tweet, which I'll show you again, I don't think it's like Mouse saying, okay, I haven't spoken to Mouse yet about this, but this is not Mouse being like, hey, this is my GOAT, this is the guy, I love this streamer, he's the best. It's just Mouse being gracious, right? It's not like, hey, I admire this guy. So there's also quotes. There's also quote retweets that got a lot too. So let's read these two. There was two that I thought were interesting and that we can maybe add some. It's not the fact that he won, it's the fact that him and his audience can insult you, spit in your face. I'll make it small so you can see me. And will praise you and congratulate him. That's really embarrassing for you. And Germa Enjoyer, I know this account because I think I've interacted with them a couple of times. Mouse, you're a gracious person, but I will not support a streamer who uses slurs. And there was a clip of Peanut where I used the F slur, like, I think like at the start of the year or something, which I hope, for all intents and purposes, that Peanut has fucking changed and that he doesn't do that anymore. But I think it's completely understandable that fans would get very fucking upset at the, you know, that this guy was being praised being a VTuber when mocks VTubers. Audience can be toxic occasionally. Slur's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. And I mean, it's FPS, bros. Like, it's so fucking, you know, I mean, I don't have much hope, I'll be honest with you. And another part that I think was reflective of this is that, like, okay, like, I saw another tweet about it, and I was like, damn, that's kind of disgusting. So during the Sapphire Award, and we can get into this, and this is like a larger point of what I want to talk about. So just bear with me for a second here. So this is like Peanut's chat, and I'm not a big fan of doing this in general, because I think like any fucking weirdo can type in chat, but like this is like the vibe here going on when the Sapphire Award is being presented, which is, you know, to showcase a female creator. You know, it's kind of gross, and you know, it's not great. And a lot of the time people will argue that like a streamer doesn't control their chat, and I think that can be true at times, but the fact of the matter is that you as the streamer set the vibe. You entirely set the vibe. And like, it's hella disgusting to let your chat talk like that. Look, I don't care how many views you get or whatever you do. I feel like if you can't fucking control your chat and you're fucking beholden to what they set, bro, come on, man. Like, man the fuck up. Tell your chat to just stop being fucking toxic. With stuff like this, even if you don't necessarily agree with it, if you let your chat run away with it, that is what they do, dude. They'll start fucking saying heinous shit in the chat. You need to fucking stamp this out in your chat. So look, I don't know like Peanut, but for everything I've seen online, like, he was gracious to Mouse, and I think that's cool. But you just gotta like stamp the shit out of your chat. Like, you gotta just show that, like, you know, that you're a fucking decent human being and you can respect others. And I think that's the main problem I have with a lot of the streamers that are big right now, is that they will let their fucking chat run fucking wild. They will let them fucking say anything. And they're extremely disrespectful to like any other creator that's not in their circle for like a clip or content. And it's like so gross. And I really hate being around it. It's kind of disgusting. I think there's literally zero professionalism in a lot of the top streamers. It is so depressing. You do not get this shit on YouTube now. Like, I was talking to some streamers about this, and I was saying, like, look, YouTube, like 5 years ago, is it 5 years ago? 5-6 years ago, you get call-out videos every other week from YouTubers. There'd be a new call-out, new drama. It doesn't happen anymore on YouTube. It barely fucking happens on YouTube. It's so fucking, like, there is never a YouTuber that just calls out another YouTuber. It doesn't happen. It's always like after like Twitch streamer stuff happens now. Like, I think YouTubers have gotten so much more professional in general. And I think streamers are so fucking childish and have this high school mentality to everything. And it's gotta be about me. Well, Chris did. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. But like, I think the drama of like, I don't like this guy, like, it doesn't happen as much. And it's rarely ever like a petty personal thing. But on Twitch, it's so bad, man. It's so cringe too. Like, the only thing that like I really didn't fuck with this year or last year with the Streamer Awards Especially last year, it was worse because there was no live audience. So the live audience, when it was just streamers, they would never fucking clap for any other streamer. It's so fucking annoying. It's an award show, and unless it's them or their closest friends, they won't clap. They have no capacity to just be like professional and classy. It's like, dude, just fucking clap. And the whole reason why I think a lot of people were upset about Peanut and him being very disrespectful to a lot of people is like, yeah, I mean, it's a fucking award show at the end of the day, and it shouldn't fucking matter. I think a lot of VTuber fans are just like hella fucking upset that they get fucking made fun of all the time, and then when an award comes that's their only award in a show where they don't get recognized, they don't fucking, you know, get their kudos. And it shouldn't matter, right? It's just not a big deal. But I can understand the frustration there. And I talked a lot to other streamers because this drama was already happening by the time at fucking 2 a.m. And I was talking to a lot of other streamers about it, and they couldn't understand it. They were like, well, I don't really get it. Like it's just like one award. It's like a VTuber and stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to explain. I'm like, look, man, like these people, they get made fun of all the fucking time for existing. So I sympathize and I understand why they would get upset about this. Like, you know, it's kind of tough. If there's any proof to you that I think Twitter is absolutely fucking useless as a source of discourse or discussion, this was my favorite tweet. I'll keep talking about this, by the way. This guy, okay, so this Ryusaki made this amazing artwork for me a mouse. Loved it. I retweeted it. And they tweeted back and they said, sadly, as great as they are, we all know they only won because Connor is friends with the judges. No shade at him. The organizers are just incredibly biased to their friends. And I said, pass me what you're smoking. You know, and I think this is a totally a valid criticism. Except I didn't fucking win. I didn't win. What are you talking about? What? Why? This is Twitter in a nutshell. It's people trying to like make a point from they're like, well, I as an expert understand this, and this is why you're wrong. And it's like you're not even factually a crumb close to reality. What are you talking about? You know, whatever. And I wasn't gonna hop in on any of this, but then I got fucking annoyed because I saw this tweet that I thought was pretty disgusting, and like it was hella gross. And I didn't even debate bringing that fucking up. But I fucking tweeted it, so I'm just gonna... this person tweeted this. He said, I'll dare to say it, if IMAS wasn't seriously ill, she'd be an average flash streamer and hate VTubers. The only reason she is one is because her life circumstances forced her to be. How else should I interpret her choosing to spit on the medium whenever possible? And for some reason, a lot of VTuber fans took Mouse's just being gracious as a kind of support, saying, yeah, man, this guy's the future of VTubing. He's gonna fucking take over the medium. Everything we love should be burned to the ground. It's like, dude, brother, what? And obviously I tweeted because I read this tweet and I was like in awe because I read it and I was like, wow, the fucking gall to tweet something like this. I never reply to these fucking low quality bait tweets because that's what they are. They're just bait tweets because they want fucking AdSense. I feel like I don't think I have to believe as a human being to a human being that these genuine thoughts didn't cross this person's mind and they just want $10 of AdSense. I have to believe that. Because otherwise, I lose all faith in humanity. And again, if I see low quality bait like this again, I'm not going to reply. I don't reply because I think giving them any amount of attention is the bad thing. But I replied to it because I was pissed off. And dude, it's so frustrating. I hate it. And again, I'm going to be the #1 mouse glazer defender here, extraordinaire. Hey, you can call me that. It doesn't offend me. I hate it so much because I feel like when people say this, like, oh, Mouse is only popular because of her disease or whatever, it's like, dude, if you ever watch Mouse stuff, Mouse never wants to talk about this stuff. It is extremely ableist of you to think that a disabled person would use their disability to get further ahead in life when it's like, I don't think anyone asks to be disabled. Like, I don't think people, like they're disabled. They already have less chances in life right off beat, and then they succeed, and now it's because of their disability? I'm sorry, disabled people never allowed to succeed? What are you talking about? It's crazy. This is what happens when you let your own lack of success or trying or inability to do anything with your own life, you let that, you warp your own sense of your worldview into thinking that somebody else only got ahead of you because, or they succeeded because they had X thing that you don't have. It's insane. When it's like, I mean, look, if you watch Mouse, you see someone who's extremely talented. Mouse is, like, I don't think anyone would argue, an insane singer, spends so much time on outfits, streaming 16 hours a day. Mouse works hard, man. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Look, I think it's a psychotic worldview to view that way. I think it's gross, man. It's gross to view it like that. And of course, like, I think if this person would never have the gall to say this to a person in real life. Like, this is insane. Like, imagine actually sitting in front of someone who's disabled and telling them, hey, by the way, you only succeeded because of your disability. They'd be like, what? What are you talking about? It's in spite of that. I'm forgetting. It's so nasty. And it's just like, I've generally had a horrible, like, mentality towards being online the past year. Like, I do not like being online. Like, I like the streams, I like doing the videos, I like playing games, but the moment I log on Twitter, I'm like, this place is a cesspit. I don't know why I keep doing it to myself. I should be classified as self-harm, but I keep going on there and I hate it. It's very frustrating. And there's a lot of aspects to this discussion that we could go on about, and like the overall fact of, like, do I think Peanut or whatever should have even been nominated? I think at the end of the day, it's a popularity contest, and that was what was voted most popular. A lot of these people will cry online about this and that, but when push comes to shove, a lot of the time they won't fucking vote. And if you voted, you know, maybe it was different. A lot of these tweets where people are getting angry and upset about it have like 10 million impressions. Like, in this total space, there's so many millions of impressions, and where were those votes, man? It's easy enough to cry about it after the fact, but fucking if you care so much about it, vote. But you don't care, so don't make the fucking tweets farming it. And you know, yeah, it's crazy. And look, I'm like super fucking, I'm normie adjacent. I hang out with a lot of streamers who don't know VTuber, don't understand it, and there are a lot of times that I have to sit there and explain. I think Mouse's tweet was very gracious, right? I think Mouse was just trying to be gracious and trying to be like, hey, a lot of this Discord is dumb. And I think a lot of people took that as like blanket support, like Peanut's my goat. And it's like, I think if there was a really big discussion about it, I'm sure Mouse or whatever the fuck would be like, yeah, look, it's an award show, popularity wins. You can't get mad about that. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with every single aspect of someone's beliefs or politics or anything. It's just like, it's people using the lack of common sense to further their own agenda and further arguments and stuff. And people act like it's like the death of VTubing or the death of the VTuber space. It's so fucking pathetic and ridiculous. I'm, you know, been a part of the anime space for like 15 years now. And people have always been crying about, man, anime's getting ruined by normies. It's like, brother, what are you talking about? You're deep on hentai forums. No normies are going there, you know? Come on. Like, what are you talking about? That was all my thoughts on it. I look, and whenever I talk about this stuff, I hate watching the clips or whatever the fuck afterwards, because I always think like, man, I could have been so much more eloquent or did my points better, but I don't want to fucking write a script because I'm just lazy. That's the truth. I could, you know, whatever. Oh, there was one other thing that I guess I meant to talk about during that whole rant, which I would have, this didn't help with a lot of people feeling not so happy about it. And I don't mean to like show any disrespect to this person. So this is when the best VTuber got announced. All right.
I'm super excited to present this next award. The 5 VTubers in this category worked hard at mastering peak kawaii and ada aura farming. Here are the
yeah, that was bad. Not gonna lie, I feel bad. I feel bad because I don't think Cubebot, just the streamer's name, I don't think they intended to, like, you know, make a cringe speech there, but I think this is like the average mentality that I think a lot of people have outside of the VTubing space to VTubers. I think that's what a lot of people think it is. I don't think it's Cubebot's fault. So don't, you know, I hope no one's hating on her for that, because I don't think she deserves to get hate for it. But I think a lot of people feel that way. I wrote that. A lot of people that don't get it think that's what VTubing is, because a lot of the times when I'll say escape containment, when a lot of VTuber clips or whatever go mainstream, unfortunately, it's never that VTuber that had this insane design or this VTuber that sings insanely well or this insane production. It's the insanely cringe stuff that I think even VTuber fans would be like, ooh. So, you know, it is what it is. And I think it's just something that will change over time. People will become more accepting. VTubers are very new. I think people forget that a lot of the time. Again, I've been in the anime space for like 15 years, and it's changed so drastically over that time, but it doesn't happen fast. It's a slow thing. It's a slow thing, and especially because VTubers are starting from zero, whereas anime had a lot more history behind it before then. So you know, these things will change. But I understand the frustration that a lot of VTuber fans have, that people just fucking constantly make fun of the medium, when I think it's a really fucking cool medium. I think being a VTuber is fucking hard. I think there's different levels. I think A lot of people do it amazingly. There are some people who I'm sure absolutely use the medium for not great things, as there is with every medium. But generally speaking, I think there's a fucking ton of artists, a ton of riggers, modelers, singers, editors. There's so much fucking work that goes into being a VTuber that I don't fucking do. I would not be a VTuber, bro. I have my little fucking camera. I turn it on. I just rock up and say shit. And so I find it frustrating from a creative standpoint to watch the slander behind it. And I think that's why this is all kind of boiled over into this one big drama with this specific thing. It is frustrating, but it'll get better. Times will change. It's an award show. Don't worry too much about it. Enjoy your VTuber. It's not going to affect it. Just keep supporting your Oshi, bro. That's it. That's all you got to do. Simple as. Should ask Booby for advice. That's what I'm saying, you know?